All right. Hello. Welcome back, everybody, to Ministry Revealed. It is July 26th, 2018, and we are still here, and we are getting close to going. So today, get ready, guys. The escape of the bride is close. It is going to be in 2018, and we're going to cover some things today. We're going to go into Jeremiah 30. We're going to touch a little bit here in Luke and relate it to places it's talking about in Jeremiah 30. What else? We'll go into Leviticus a bit more here today as well, because we're not looking at tomorrow, July 27th. July 27th is going to be a sign. Remember, it's a super blood moon. It's a sign, and it's over Israel. And Mars being close is another sign. Remember, these are celestial objects in the sky. Excuse me, they're signs. Not just, but they're signs, all right? But we're going to go through and show a little bit greater detail, because when I was saying as well that, hey, you know what? It looks like July 27th. I wasn't complete, because you got to remember, guys, I'm a questioner. I question. I've been like that my whole life, and sometimes it's gotten me into some trouble, and other times glorious revelations that we've been having here on this channel, right? Because I just want the truth, like all of you guys, and I want to dig and dig until we can come down to see the final truth. And you know, I started thinking about it, and when has a celestial event with a sign ever been something on that day, right? It's not. It's to let us know. And in this case, it's going to be to let Israel know, because it's upon us. Now, when I was speaking July 27th, I was also speaking in regards to the Overcomer calendar. And I'm still in agreement with it, guys, that we are looking at it, like I was talking about in the previous video, that we're to look at this based on the full moons. Now, there's only one other option. It's either that it is the crescent of the new moon, right? From the moon being gone and then the first little crescent appearing. It's either that, or it's what I was saying, that it's the full moon. And not what I was saying, it's also, it turns out that's what the Overcomer calendar and some others talk about as well. So, if that's true, we're only looking at a difference of 2 weeks. But not from the 27th. Why? Because the second Adar. So I totally forgot about the second Adar that was revealed. Remember, I've got, if you see the thumbnail a few videos back, that has the 3 moons that are 3 different colors on it. The reason for that was the video I did on what happened on January 31st of this year, which was significant to Zechariah 1 for the year 2018. It set the stage for the timetable we are now in the year 2018. It's going to begin. Now, excuse me, we're coming into greater understanding, and all these books are opening, and we're able to start piecing these things together better. But at the same time, we're also trying to, you know, just figure out where, excuse me, where this day is going to land. Now, like I say, when this day comes, it won't matter who was right, because the bride's going to be gone. You see what I mean? We're not going to sit here and say, oh man, that dude was right. No, it's going to be everybody that's left that didn't pay attention, that weren't repentant, that weren't watching and seeking the Lord. But I don't believe that's anybody here on this channel, because we're all watching. That's why you guys are here, right? So we're watching and we're praying always. We're being repentant. You know, we're returning from our sins. We're asking from the strength when we do slip to keep away from them, right? So let's have a look at this, knowing what we now know, right? If we go back here, I'll come back to this hopefully. If we go back to Leviticus 23, what I forgot to do was the count. So when we came to July 27th, what we did is we forgot the rest of the count. Because here's the thing, guys. There was a second Adar. It was a second Adar year. We know that. I was given the revelation. I've shared it. And on our Gregorian calendar, based on when it happened earlier this year, it gave us the proof on our Gregorian calendar. God gave us the sign on our calendar showing that indeed when that is, because the blue moon, meaning 2 full moons in a calendar month, happens every 2 to 3 years. The exact same thing as the second Adar month, where things get caught up. In the Hebrew calendar, it happens 7 times in 19 years. It's every 2 to 3 years that it happens. So it lines up with the blue moons. So when I was revealed that, I put that into a video. Well, another thing we can't change is when the season begins, right? At the spring equinox. The spring equinox was on March 20th. However, if we base it, like we're saying, off the crescent of the new moon, and this would be off the crescent of the new moon happened here. Spring equinox happened here. So when the crescent of the new moon arrives before the spring equinox, guess what? You go to the next month. And this is your Nisan 1. You see that? So this information, when I was realizing this came from a guy. His name's Guy. He's out in Europe, one of the subscribers, one of our brothers in Christ. And it happened, the crescent of the new moon happened. You see, they got here in Nisan 1. But it was before the spring equinox. So that means it goes forward. It proved that there was, yet again, more proof that it was a second Adar month or a second Adar year. All right, you can say month as well, but in this year. So that pushes Nisan 1 to Adar 1 here. All right? And then if you're basing it off the crescent of the new moon, you go 14 days and boom, this is your Passover. All right? Passover was right here. Which is the 14th day, right? The 15th day, which is the second day of Passover, is right here, May 1st. Now, for what I was saying, that I believe it was from the full moon, if we take it from the full moon, it makes the 1st of Nisan right here, and it puts the Passover 14 days later, like we talked about already, on May 14th. And that, to me, even just in the whole understanding of what May 14th is, the 70th anniversary this year, it just makes me think this has to be based on the full moon, just because of where it lands. I mean, I didn't make that up. It just landed right on that day. So regardless of whether it's here or whether it's here, we're going to see what this difference is, all right? So we've established now, even in previous videos, it was a second Adar month. So it got pushed based on the crescent of the new moon to here, or it was pushed to here, which means this is either the Passover or this was the Passover. All right? Now, watch this. When we come over here, we have a great sister in Christ who's new to the channel, and we've been emailing back and forth. She is, her and her family, they are a strict, her and her husband and their family, their whole community, they are strict. I don't know if you even say the word strict when you say Orthodox Jew. They are Orthodox Jewish family. All right? And she and one of her daughters are Christians. And they relatively recently, I think, I'm not going to say their name though, but I went to her. So when I have questions, like I've talked about her in the past couple of videos, when I had questions wanting to confirm the wedding and the process, you know, they don't see each other 7 days before, and then it's the wedding, and then 7 days of feasts after that by 7 different family members, or maybe even different homes, or however that works. So you had 7, wedding 7, right? Just like we say, it's 14 years on this channel, and it's going to begin here, and it's going to end in 2032. Well, Gregorian 2032 in the early parts, because we go spring to spring. When Jesus was here, the beginning of the year was spring. When the apostles wrote all this, it was spring, right? In the New Testament, it was spring to spring. All right? They've messed with us with it. That's where April Fool's comes from. We spoke about that in a video a long time ago as well. All right? It was because it's from spring to spring. But watch this here. So to find out a better understanding is this word right here when we bring in the sheaf of the wave offering, all right? So, and you shall reap the harvest thereof when you shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest. All right? So then the priest is going to wave it on the morrow after the Sabbath. When we come down here regarding Pentecost, we've discussed this in the past couple videos. That is, I think, really the last one, that it's not 50 days, 49 plus 1. It says it's 49, which is 7 times 7. You shall number 50 days, right? Even unto the morrow, meaning the day after the 7th Sabbath, you shall number 50 days. The total is 99 days. Now, when does the 99 days start? Well, look what it says. From the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day you brought the sheaf of the wave offering in. When is the sheaf of the wave offering brought in? See, look at when they brought it in here. You bring in the sheaf of the wave offering first unto the priest, but they don't wave it yet. They wave it on the morrow, the day after the Sabbath. But when do they bring this in? So I asked our sister in Christ, who's Orthodox Jew, and it's on the day. So if we go based on this one being the Passover, right, based on the crescent of the new moon, and this was your Passover, the day after is when the sheaf of the wave offering is brought in. Which means, where's your Sabbath? Right here, right? Evening to evening. So your Sabbath, so the day after, we go to the 6th. So May 6th is where we would do the count based on the crescent of the new moon. So let's go to May 6th, 2018, add 99 days. And look where we come to. August 13th. Now, where would be the furthest out date? Go back to it. We know where to begin the count, which is the sheaf of the wave offering is brought in here, but we have to wait until the Sabbath. So if it was based on the full moon, then we go to the day after, which is on the 15th. Then we have to wait though until the Sabbath is passed, right? The day after. Then we would count from the 20th. If we count from the 20th, it would be May 20th, and we add 99 days. Look at this, August 27th. So when I was talking before, and this is why I say I question everything, I might sometimes be a little bit, I see it, I get it, and I believe that that's the time. What was missed here in the calculation for it being tomorrow was they never accounted for the second Adar. It's been proven 3 different ways now that there is a second Adar added this year, or was added this year. So if in fact there was a second Adar added this year, it would mean it's a month away, which would mean what? The exact calculation. It shows that that calculation was correct also. That got us to July 27th. The only exception is the second Adar that pushed it back a month because it wasn't ready. 1 month later. If it is the Overcomer calendar, the creation calendar, or whatever that one's called, it is August 27th. If it is based on the crescent of the new moon, which is very possible, I'm not saying no to that, we're looking at August 13th, 2 weeks earlier. So in either case, we're looking at what? A little over 2 weeks to a little bit over a month. And guys, I know how crazy this sounds. Come on, seriously? Pentecost all the way in August? Mid-end August? Believe me, I've been scratching my head and just saying, no. It just, come on, no. It's just not true. It doesn't make sense. The only reason it doesn't make sense to us is because we were taught it wrong. We were taught the wrong calculation. They went 49 days plus 1. It doesn't say, and then the 50th day. It says, then you shall add 50 days. It's 99. Think of Abraham, the significance of 99. Abraham with his son. You know, what if people had dreams and visions of, or at least dreams of, for 30 years now? That when Billy Graham passed, it would be the sign, the beginning of the end. That the end times are about to begin. How old was Billy Graham when he died? 99 years old. He was significant, guys. He was a marker for us in our generation. Right? And we're in the 70th generation. All these things. But to the fact that August seems very late, well, this is something Guy shared with me as well. Think of the fact that when wheat is planted and when wheat is ready to harvest. Wheat, he said, wheat isn't ready for 100 to 120 days. Do you get it? It's not ready for 100 to 120 days. If it's not ready for 100 to 120 days, how is Pentecost, which is the wheat harvest, how is it 50? See that? It can't be 50. It just, you know, as we're learning and as we're growing and the books are being revealed and we're understanding more and more, we're realizing, oh, wait a second. What the heck is all this stuff? Right? That's what's happening on this channel. Sometimes it's coming through the Spirit leading me. Well, it's always coming through the Spirit that leads me. But sometimes, and in many cases, from you guys as subscribers, from videos that I watch, and I'll go in and I'll say that, you know, something there is making sense that they're saying, but there's a piece missing with what I understand. And I go in and boom, it's revealed and I share it with you guys. And this is again one of them. I didn't come up with this. I wasn't the first one to realize this one. I had to go back and say, wait a second. That's not what it says. It says 50. And the moment I read it, after I'd realized, let me go read this again, boom, it jumped out at me. How many times on this channel do we talk about that difference, right? This little difference, where is it? Oops, down here. This little difference right here. An S. Or a comma followed by the word and. Right? Those little things make all the difference in understanding. They make so much of a difference, guys. It's unfair to be reading the Bible without seeing it. And so when we understand that a wheat harvest, the wheat isn't ready for 100 to 120 days, well, there you go. The bride goes first when? Right 99, 100, right in there. Not 50. And when you realize just in a natural harvest of wheat that it takes 100 to 120 days, what were we thinking of it being 50? Just in the natural of looking at wheat, knowing that the Pentecost was related to wheat. So you see that? It's not time yet, guys. This one seems very interesting as well. If it's not the full moon, if it is not a count based on the full moon, we're looking at August 13th as the real Pentecost. If it is based on the full moon, it'll be the 27th. But how many days is this after the warning, which is tomorrow? 17 days. Right? Let's go here real quick. What does 17, let's see, Gregorian 17. Virtuous, doing well, rightly acting. You can get more definition if you go do a word search, the word number search as well. and you'll see what it means. You know, it's more than just this. It is very significant. We spoke about it before, right, with 17, a long time ago in other videos. But, you know, so now we know what we're looking for. It was a second Adar year, which is why a lot of people, not knowing that it was a second Adar year, are going to be off by a month. Right? So, with that, let's now go into, sorry, a little sip of coffee. Let's go into Jeremiah 30, and let's look and see, and let's give evidence to the fact, yet again, that Jacob's trouble is talking about the time of trumpets. So we're in Jeremiah 30, starting in verse 7. All right? Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble. Watch this, guys. Watch this. It's going to relate to what we've been talking to. Exactly what we've been talking to that happened this year 8 days ago in Israel. All right? We talked about it in the last video. I hadn't even gone into Jeremiah 30 yet. And then I wasn't sure if I was really excited because my wife was out of town with work. She'll be back here later today. So I was so excited going through Jeremiah and where it was leading me. I had to talk to somebody, so I emailed one of our subscribers, our brother in Christ, Keith Klein. Right? I had to get it off my chest and talk to somebody about it. Well, watch what this leads to us here. All right? So we know this is talking about Jacob's trouble. We've shown that Jacob's trouble many, many times because it's time for Judah, right? It's the time for the Jews, and that time is really going to kick off. That time is going to begin in trumpets. Okay, so watch this. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Lord of hosts, we're in verse 8, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck. Why is he having to break the yoke? If this is the year, you know, give or take 2024, 25, right? When trumpets is about to begin, why is the Lord coming to break the yoke off the neck of Jacob, right? Off the neck of Judah. Why is he breaking the yoke off the neck? Wasn't it already broke when he came in his death, right? Watch this. Remember we covered this already in the previous video? What happened on July 18th, 2018? Watch this. All right, we covered this in the last video. I didn't want to have this brought up already, right? It slows down the computer, but here it is right here. See that? July 18th, 2018. Watch. See, it says prophecy fulfilled right there. Look at this. Jewish nation-state bill becomes law. Biggest prophetic development in 50 years. It was confirmed on July 18th, 2018. And what they did is in the Knesset, right? They're lawgivers. They declared that they were bringing Levitical law back in as, in some cases, like mandatory, some of them. You know, observing the Sabbath and so forth. You guys can go read this. It's at unsealed.org. You can get it off the ticker that you saw there. Passed 8 to 7. Then they had a second reading, and it even passed the third reading in the Knesset in a vote of 62 to 55. Right? 12 tribes, 12 apostles, and now they're governed by 12 major laws. Voted on in the Knesset. It now passed. Now, like I've said before, do these guys think they're doing it to bring wickedness or to bring wrath upon them? No, they think they're doing it for good reason. And look what it does. It stirs up a bunch of trouble, and then people are demonstrating against it. Right? We covered this already. Watch this. It's what we're talking about here. But there rose up certain of the sect of the Pharisees, same people, which believe, see, they believe it's a good thing, saying that it is needful to circumcise them and to command them to keep the law of Moses. On July 18th, 2018, they reinstated many of those laws and make them mandatory. And then here you have the apostles and Peter here saying, guys, what is wrong with you? Protesting it, right? Protesting it. But it doesn't make a difference. They did it anyways. Just like with Peter here, they did it anyways. And this is what he says to him. Now, therefore, why do you tempt God to put a yoke upon the neck of the disciples? Which neither our fathers nor we were able to bear. Why? Because they were never able to follow all of those laws without fault. Which is why Yeshua came. So what did they just do here on July 18th? They just put the burden, the yoke, back upon the necks of the disciples. Judah. Remember, that's Matthew's group. We can decipher that from the discourse. We've covered that in many videos. Matthew's discourse it says with the disciples. In Mark's discourse, it gives the three or four of them. And in Luke's, it says they said master. They. In Matthew, it's the disciples, because it's speaking to Judah. That's exactly what's going on here. It's speaking to Judah, the disciples. The yoke has been put back upon their neck as of July 18th, 2018. The yoke is back on their neck. And so what is Yeshua coming to do? He is returning. Where were we? At the time of Jacob's trouble, when he returns, he is going to break the yoke from off their necks. See that? And I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves to him. The Gentiles, the heathen that are in there, right? That are doing all these things to them, that are causing these things. What else do we have here? Let's go a little bit further. I'm not going to go to all of it, guys. You guys can go see it for yourselves. We're Jeremiah 30, verse 10. Okay? Therefore fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Lord, neither be dismayed, O Israel, for lo, I will save thee from afar, and your seed from the land of their captivity. Remember, because they're still throughout the world. And Jacob shall return, and watch, shall be in rest and be quiet. What? Remember, that was part of what we had covered a couple videos ago. Watch this. In 1 Thessalonians 5:3, watch this. For when they shall say, remember, they're only stating it. They're going to be stating it. When they say this peace and safety, they're going to set the discourse. Remember? Matthew, Mark, Luke, the discourse, the Olivet discourses. They're going to set the discourse. It's going to kick off the discourse. The tribulation is going to begin. But watch the word peace. I did a whole video on this. It means quiet and rest. And safety means safety. So when they shall set the discourse for peace and safety, what happens here? Look. Then sudden destruction comes upon them. Sudden destruction comes upon them. When we're back over here in Jeremiah, and it's talking about being quiet and rest, watch. Again, Jesus has returned and taken the yoke off of them, right? Taken the burden off their necks. And then they come back from their captivity, and Jacob shall return and shall be at rest and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. But wait a second. When we were looking at this rest and quiet from 1 Thessalonians as well as Zechariah 1 for 2018 is the same thing. We've covered this many, many times, but watch this part right here. That are at ease, it means quiet, and if you go to the root word of it, which is one more away, quiet, rest. Didn't matter if we were in the Hebrew or in the Greek. That's how we know we're at the same word. We're at the same time of understanding. And then what comes next? The affliction, tribulation. Same thing as what 1 Thessalonians 5:3 is talking about. Same thing 7 years later, about 7 years later, what he's talking about here is now they're going to return and shall be at rest and quiet. In 1 Thessalonians, when they say rest and quiet, sudden destruction came upon them. This is not that. This is the Lord has returned, removed the yoke from off their necks, and they're going to return into their land, and the Lord is going to be there on Mount Zion, not Mount of Olives, Mount Zion, and they're going to be able to rest and be quiet, right? Quiet rest. The quiet rest that was said in 2018, which is the peace and safety, it's only going to be said. But when they say it, sudden destruction comes upon them. And the bride is going to escape all those things that are about to break forth after. This is the actual, see, and shall be quiet and rest, not say quiet and rest. Watch this. Do you guys remember this last year? Look at 2018. So this is the UN International Day of Peace. Every September 21st is International Day of Peace. We talked about this, guys, last year many, many times. A lot of people were talking about this because it was significant. However, because it's been so many months now, almost a year, we completely forget about it. But let's not forget about it. This is 2018. Look what they call it for 2018. The theme for this year, because every year they have a theme, it's International Day of Peace, the right to peace, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights at 70. At 70, here we go again. 70. Okay? So this is their theme right here. International Day of Peace, September 21st, 2018. The right to peace. 70 years. Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Okay? Now, what was last year? Last year, for the first time ever since they started having these days, and they moved them to September 21st, I think early 2000s. I think it was 2001 because of September 11th. It was moved to September 21st. Since then, since it happened, since it began, it's always been called International Day of Peace. However, remember 2017 for the first time ever? It was called, the theme was Together for Peace, Respect, Safety, and Dignity for All. They've thrown in peace with safety. Or I should say they've added safety with peace. So they have peace and safety. This was their declaration. This was their theme, I should say, for 2017. We're still in this year of peace and safety. You see that? We're still in the year of peace and safety. Is this what could tie into what Zechariah 1 is saying here? All of these things have happened in order in 2018 for Zechariah 1, right to the point now where the Lord is jealous. I am jealous for Zion, right? And it says, I am very sore displeased at the heathen that are at rest and quiet. See that? That are at ease. This is it. Rest and quiet. The prime root, one word away. Right? This is about to end on their declaration. Or sorry, not on their declaration. On their theme. It's going to end in September. So we're still in their theme of peace and safety. But now what we're waiting for is for the sudden destruction. See, I am very sore displeased with the heathen that are, see, it's even italicized, that are at ease, right? That are in quiet rest, and boom, soon as it kicks off, it's going to be that sudden destruction. That's what we're looking for next. Whereas Jeremiah 30, they're going to have it. Why? Because the Lord is back. Okay? So isn't that interesting? They've got the words that are definitions to the last 2-3 videos that we've been talking about this. Quiet, rest. And right here, when the Lord returns, uses the exact words we've been talking about. Quiet, rest. That they shall have their quiet rest because now he's back in the land. Remember that? For those of you who are new and saying, what are you talking about? He's back in the land. You have to watch some previous videos. We've got a series called Operation 14 Years. It's a 3-part series. It is worth the time to watch to understand not only the season that you're in, but to understand the truth of the tribulation timeline of 14 years. All right? It's about 7 for seals and 7 for trumpets. The Lord will return, but not everybody is going to see him when he returns to Mount Zion. And he's going to be seen, though, at the end of the 6th seal. Before the 7th trumpet, he's going to be here. They're going to seal the 144,000. Then you're going to have the rapture, and then you see Revelation 14, where the 144,000 are on Mount Zion with him. All right? Now let's keep going. Let's see where this goes. I will correct thee in measure. So they're not going to be left unpunished. They're still going to be getting punished, right? You can continue to read it for yourselves. Those that devoured you, they're going to be devoured. Because remember, when the Lord returns, when he's coming down to Mount Zion, whatever, we've talked about this before, whatever that is going to look like, guys, it's not going to be like anything ever in the history of the world that we can comprehend. I don't know what it's going to look like, but it's a question that I've had. What is it going to look like when him and his army, when those that are coming down to fight all the wicked, what's that going to look like? Remember, that's fight number 1. And why? Because all of those that were battling from the time of the red horse rider, when peace is taken from the earth, right? When the Antichrist first comes into power, that's when he first comes into power. By the time just before the pale horse rider is when he gets his power to continue 42 months. But he comes to power, it says first in Revelation 13. He's given his seat and authority and everything. But it's not until he's given power to continue, it says, 42 months. That's going to be the time, I'd say, around the pale horse. All right, just before it. So, look, it says peace is taken from the earth. This is when they're going to be fighting. This is going to be when, what are we talking about here? With, shoot, just lost my train of thought. Sorry, I'll grab a drink of coffee. This is when, give me a second. All right, so this is what I was getting at. It's this time here, right? When peace is taken from the earth, it's what we were just talking about when the Olivet discourses begin. When we have what? Nation shall rise against nation and kingdom against kingdom. This is the beginning here. This is when the Revelation 12:2, when there's labor and travail, all these things. This is the beginning. This is the seals breaking open. The red horse rider. So nation against nation. And they're going to continue to fight until the end. There's going to be other things, of course, happening along the way. But it looks like the war is actually going to continue until this time. And then look what they're going to see. They're going to see the face of him that sits on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb. For the great day of his wrath is come. You see that? This is when Jesus is first going to be seen coming. And what is that going to look like? Just like when we talked about in Ezra 4, right? That additional book. It talks about when this happens, when they see this, and people are freaking out on the earth, not knowing what it is, they're going to go back. They're going to stop their fights within each other and within their people and within nations and everything, because peace was taken from the earth. When this happens and they see this, they're not going to understand that this is Jesus coming, returning to Mount Zion. They're not going to know. The 144,000 are going to find out, and then there's going to be the rapture group, but the world isn't going to understand it. They're going to leave their wars and their battles that they started with the Red Horse Rider, right, at the second seal, and they're going to go back into their own nations. They're going to stop their fighting, and they're all going to come against Jerusalem, where the Lord is going to be on Mount Zion, however that is going to look. But imagine what that's going to look like. Okay? So they're going to surround Zion, which is what? Which is exactly what this is spoken of here. This is the first one that Mark talks about. Standing where it ought not. Right? Let them that be in Judea flee, because they're going to come and there's going to be war and Jesus is going to destroy them. Right? However that's going to look. This is that first one. Matthew's is the one that comes later when Satan shows up. Because there's more than one that's going to come. Okay? So now let's look at this real quick. Watch when people want to see the differences between the wraths, watch. And we're going to show it here in Luke as well to show the timing of what Luke's talking about, and we'll relate it back here to Zechariah. Look at this wrath, all right? From the wrath of the Lamb. This is Jesus' wrath. His wrath is going to be the trumpet's wrath. And here it is. 3709. It means desire. When we're here in Luke 21 in his discourse, and we look at this part down here, watch this. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written might be fulfilled. This is the beginning. This is the time of Jacob's trouble. This is what's being spoken about here. That's why you see this here. That first one, when you see Jerusalem compassed round about with the armies, just like we were just talking about. And this is right here. For these be the days of vengeance, that all things which are written may be fulfilled. But woe unto them that are with child and give suck in those days, for there shall be great distress in the land. And look at this. And wrath upon this people. Which wrath? Same one. This is the one from the wrath of the Lamb. Right? Look, same one. 3709. For the wrath upon this people. This is the wrath of the Lamb. Is about to begin. And it's the time when the vengeance that he was talking about would begin. Right? Would come. Which is what? Which is Zechariah 30, what we're talking about. Zechariah 30 is a big overview, like I like to say, a macro. It's way up there overview of the last 7 years. Just a brief overview of the final 7 years during trumpets, and we're going to touch on that more. But watch the difference in the wraths. Somebody could say, well, this could also be the wrath of God. No, it's the wrath of the Lamb. Watch the difference. Let's go to Revelation 15. No, Revelation 16. Actually, oops, I'm in Luke. Let's go to Revelation 15. Now look at this one. This is regarding the plagues, the 7 bowls, all right? Now the last 7 plagues, for in them is filled up the wrath of God. The bowls are the wrath of God, and these are going to be on everybody left that has received the mark, that just can no longer, they had received the mark and they've been living with it, and so on and so forth. They're done. They're the ones that are going to experience the bowl judgments. And it's after the trumpets, and it is, look, not the same wrath. It is the wrath of God. His is called passion. Whereas the Lamb's wrath is described as desire. So you can see that there are 2 wraths. We've been talking about it on this channel for a long time. And that's what we're seeing when we go and we're looking here and we see that, peace is taken from the earth. And it's not going to be returned until the Lamb returns to Mount Zion. It's exactly the same thing going on here. Look at even Zechariah. Let's go to Zechariah 8, the 2025. This is your Revelation 14, the Lamb. You know, it's either here to here, somewhere in here, but I believe it's right here. It might be between these two, 2024 to 2025. This is your Revelation 14, the Lamb standing on Mount Zion with the 144,000. All right? But it may have begun a little bit earlier here, and we're going to show you some more in Jeremiah, and how it leads into Haggai as well, and explain the time that Haggai is talking about, and potentially who. So right here, Zechariah 8, what do we see? Look, remember in Zechariah 1, the Lord was jealous. It said, I am jealous. Sorry, not was. It said, I am jealous for Zion in Zechariah 1. By Zechariah 8, in 2025, he's no longer jealous. He says, I was jealous. But he's no longer jealous. Why? Because he's returned to Zion. He's returned to Mount Zion. He's not returning to the Mount of Olives yet for everybody to see him. He's going to be on Mount Zion, and only certain people will see him, especially the 144,000, and that's how people are going to be brought to see him, okay, and to be with him. But watch what he says here. Watch this. Zechariah 8, so the year 2025. Zechariah 8, verse 10. For before these days there was no hire for a man, nor a hire for beast, neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. Remember that? Because of the affliction. When did it begin? From their setting the discourse of peace and safety, yet sudden destruction ends up coming upon them. It's not till 8 years later, when the Lamb returns, that there is no longer those wars. They've all surrounded Jerusalem, boom, destroyed them. And now what happens? There's going to be 3.5 years while he's here for those first 3.5, and they're going to have their peace. But it says that there was no man to hire, nor any beast. Why? Because there wasn't any peace. Peace was taken from the earth. When was peace taken from the earth? We already know that answer, right? Second seal. So for those that believe the seals have already begun, I just gave you more proof that they haven't. It's right here. To Zechariah. Right? There was no peace. Nobody that he can have to rebuild. Right? Did you guys catch that? That's what he's talking about here. Look. Let your hands be strong, you that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation, we're going to touch that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. See, the foundation was laid in late 2023 into 2024. Okay? And I'm going to show you that today. Say late 2023. I figured it was around Hanukkah of the year 2023. Okay? And then they return and they're going to be building into the year 2025. But look, the fact that they couldn't build it prior to. And I just lost my train of thought again. Sorry, guys, but I'll get it. So this is what was happening here when we see them with the ability to return. Okay? I'm just going to have to keep going because I lost that train of thought. Let me see if I can get it again. Let your hands be strong. So you have the rapture group now there. You have the foundations. Oh, that's what I was getting at. See, what are they rebuilding? They're rebuilding the city and the streets, remember? I've talked about this quite a bit in the last couple of videos, 2, 3, 4 videos, because if they're rebuilding, that means it had to have been destroyed. You see that? It had to have been destroyed before they can come back and rebuild it. It's the same as what Daniel's saying. It's all throughout everything we've been teaching. That's why I've been saying, 2018, Jerusalem is about to get destroyed. It is going to get hit, and the kickoff is going to be when they set that discourse in motion. Just all these things we've been covering. All right, let's go back now to Jeremiah, and let's see if we can finish this up. So we've been able to show where these things are to show exactly the time that we're at. And I believe this here too. Like, look at this right off the bat. Jeremiah 30 verse 6. Why can men have travail like a child? No. So why do I see them with their hands on their loins as if they're travailing like a woman, and all their faces are turned to paleness? Why? What do you think it's going to look like when him that sits on the throne, and to hide them from the face of the Lamb? What do you think this is going to look like when they see this coming? Don't forget what they're going to see before. When they see these things in the sky, because here's your tribulation, your beginning of your tribulation. By about the year 2022, there's going to appear another wonder in the sky. This is going to still come. This, guys, hasn't happened. The September 23rd could be like a wake up to get people watching. I'm not in disagreement with that. But it's not the sign, because it doesn't even call it a sign. It calls it a wonder. And we've covered it before, the word appear. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear that. But I'm not saying it's not nothing. I'm saying it's not the main thing. It could be like an onion, right? It's got layers to its understanding. But in the understanding, it says appeared a great wonder. Not there was a sign in the sky, or there appeared a sign. It used the word wonder. So remember, there's going to be another one, right? So this one here, I believe, is going to take place in the year 2022. That sometime in 2022 is when you're going to see this one. They're not coming down to the earth yet, but this is when it's going to be seen. And people are going to be freaking out. Then you're going to have Revelation 6. Then Yeshua, the end of Revelation 6. Then you're going to have the 144,000 sealed. And then you're going to have your rapture. Then you're going to have your rapture of the rest of the church. The bride is a portion, remember? The bride is the first fruits of the wheat harvest, is the 10%. That's who's about to go. The ones who are the Lord's, who the Lord knows who they are, those who are watching and praying and spending time with Him, that are repentant, that are abstaining and keeping from sin, right? Those are the Lord's. Those are the ones. He knows the hearts of those who are His. These guys are those who are going to get raptured in the year 2024. So this sign, I believe, is going to be seen in 2022. All right? This is your 2023 time frame, when a third of the stars are cast down, maybe late 2022 into 2023. And then you're going to have Jesus brought forth late 2023, which is why you see them there. You see them there at the end of the sixth seal. Okay? We're not there right yet, but we are at the time of the escape of the bride. Okay? Now, let's go back. I know a lot of jumping around. Pause it, guys. I always tell you guys, if you need to pause and look up those words and search these things for yourselves, just pause and come back and watch and seek and search it out along the way. You don't have to do it all at once. I cover a lot of ground in my videos because I can't help it. It's not me. The Spirit just leads me and shows me and takes me through it, and that's the prayer on my knees every time before I start a video. All right? So now watch this. So we've talked about this. Behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwellings. And the city shall be built upon her own heap. See that? City being built again. But I don't believe this one is the beginning one again. I think this is going to be towards the later. Remember I said Jeremiah 30, that when it says Jacob's trouble, it's the final 7 years that it's covering. And I'm going to prove this out to you. Okay? But they're not going to rebuild the palace. See? And the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. Why? because in 2028, when Satan comes down and the people of the power of the prince that shall come, remember, in Daniel 9, they're going to destroy the city and the sanctuary. So Jesus is saying here, at the end, when it's all over, we're going to rebuild the city, but this palace we don't need anymore. It's going to remain the way it was. Okay? And and this is how you know you're at the end of it. And out of man, and out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry. Look, and I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Why would he be doing this during the tribulation of the trumpets and all the devastation going on? It's because it's not. This is the end. They're going to be multiplying again like Abraham was told. All right? The millennium's about to begin. Okay? See, their children shall also be as aforetime. Remember, in ancient days, in times past. Right? Look. From antiquity. Right? From the olden times. That's how you're going to multiply like you did back then. Watch this. Now, check this out. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor. I've been wondering who this guy is. I've talked about it, and I believe I know who this is. He pops up so often, and their governor. The governor. I'm going to show you. I've talked before that I believe this could be Jared Kushner. But please remember, this point that we're talking about, this is trumpets. So we're in the year 20, late 23 or mid-late 23 when Jesus shows up and when they're going to begin the foundation, and then you're going to have the rapture in 2024, and then boom, they're all there, and they're going to be rebuilding the city and the temple. All right? And they're going to have protection around them. The Lord is going to be there on Mount Zion with them. All right? But this governor guy keeps showing up. So let's have another quick look to see who he is here late in Jacob's trouble. He's there right up to the end of it. See, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them, and I will cause him to draw near. He's going to let him come and see him. And he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach me, says the Lord? And you shall be my people, and I will be your God. See that? What else do we know? That the Lord is a whirlwind, right? He's going to go out, and he's going to do his damage. This might even be the bowls here at the end. Okay? But they're all going to be protected now in the land, and he's going to go out. Satan's going to be bound, and he's going to deal with everybody else that had the mark and so forth. I believe this is the bowls here. Excuse me. So it takes us right to the end. But let's look at this governor guy real quick, because now we've covered briefly Jeremiah 30, and we've given the relation to show when it begins, which is at trumpets. But now let's get greater detail, and Haggai is going to give us our greater detail. I'm going to try to do this as quickly as possible and not spend too much time. But now we've been talking a lot about how it appears that Trump may be Darius. All right? If it's Darius Trump, that's what I call it, Darius Trump, we have to then understand, just because it says second year, which second year? Not, is it from the first year? From his first election or from his second election? And this one here is talking about his second election, and we know it from when the temple and everything is going to be built. Okay? When they're going to begin. So watch this. In the second year, in the 6th month, first day of the month. So if this is Darius Trump, and I'm correct that it could be Darius Trump, let's see if the timing makes sense. Let's go to January 20th, first day in office, 2017. Okay, that's his first day in office. But that was 4 years, right? And I'm saying that this is the second year of his second election. So that would make it 6 years, right? First 4 years, he gets reelected. It will be add 2 to the 4. So it'll be in his 6th year. And it says what? In the 6th month, first day. So let's go 6th month, and it'll be the first day. Look where it lands. right in the time frame that I've been talking about. Right in the time frame, right in the middle of 2023. Now we have an understanding of where we're at. See, and here we get this governor of Judah showing up everywhere. Just like we saw in Zechariah towards the end, Jeremiah 30 towards the end of it. And who is he? So came the word of the Lord by Haggai the prophet unto Zerubbabel. Well, who's this Zerubbabel character? Descended of, that is, from Babylon, because he was born there. So he was born in Babylon, but he's a descendant of Judah. All right? Who is this guy? Well, I've talked about this in previous videos, you do a little bit of digging, who is descended? Which name in the Bible is descended? Jared. From the Hebrew 3382. Remember this program, guys? eSword. It is a blessing of a program. And guess what, guys? I forgot to tell you this. This eSword program, once you download it, whether it be to your phone or to your laptop, tablet, whatever it is, you guys have it. So when the Bibles, remember this, when Bibles and the internet, when the internet goes down and Bibles are taken away and they're burnt and, I believe that's the Black Horse Rider time and all that stuff and people are reporting people, if you guys are able to get power to your devices, somehow, some way, I'm sure many will be able to somehow, if you've already downloaded this, guys, you have it. And it's free. It takes almost no space. So you could always have the Bible, or you could leave it for those behind by putting it on your phones and on your devices and leaving it with your note for your emergency packages or those things that you're leaving behind for people. Or like what we're doing, right? Remember our program here with our USBs. We download the 14-year, Operation 14 Years. We're shipping them to pastors mainly all throughout North America. And to those of you requesting them, right? If you add in that letter, well, not in what the ones we're doing, but if you add within your own that a note to say this program is downloaded there, it doesn't matter if they have connection to the internet or not. All they need is power. So this program is free and takes up almost no space. I wanted to throw that in real quick. So Jared, let's look at Jared here. Jared is from the Hebrew word 3382. Descendant. From 3381 to descend. I've done a video on Jared before. Jared and from Jerub and the meaning of it and just things that the Lord led me to when I came into the understanding of his name, and it was really wild. But I've done a video on it talking about it, and I believe that when we're talking about Zerubbabel here in relation to end times, I believe we could very well be speaking about Jared. All right? Born in Babylon, but he's a descendant of Judah. So he can still be governor over there. Okay? So look at what they're saying here. Thus speaketh the Lord of hosts, saying, this people say the time is not come, the time that the Lord's house should be built. Right? You guys know this story very well. And the Lord's like, oh, really? You guys are about to start living in your own and you're building your own, but what about mine? Right? And he goes in and he gives them heck, and they want to rebuild it. And then he's destroying the things that they're building of their own because they're still not going to build his. Here it is again. And Zerubbabel, the son of, and then you have the 144,000 are there. But let's skip down. I don't want to spend too much time. It's already getting late. Verse 14. And the Lord stirred up the spirit of Zerubbabel, potentially Jared Kushner, governor of Judah, and the remnant. Look, the remnant here being spoken of are the 144,000. Those for posterity, those being left behind, right? They've escaped, but those that have escaped because when they got sealed, they were taken and brought to Mount Zion. Remember that? Revelation 14:1. They're brought to Mount Zion. They're sealed with the word of the Lord, and they're going to be going out and spreading the word. Well, look at this now. And the people came. So now they've all come together. They've been stirred up in the spirit to stop working and building their houses, but they've gathered the wood, it said, right? And it says, and they came and did work in the house of the Lord of hosts, their God, in the 24th day of the 6th month of the 2nd year of Darius. All right, we're still in the 6th month. That would put us, where did that put us? That would put us into August now. All right, if we added the 23 or 24 days, it said, right? The 24 days. But now let's go here. One step further. 7th month, the 21st day. Unto Zerubbabel and to the residue of the people. Same thing, right? It's the 144,000. Still talking to them. This is what he says. You shall be strong. And he repeats them again. He's always got them together, right? Saith the Lord. And work, for I am with you. We know Jesus is with them. Revelation 14:1, right? Revelation 14:1. They're on Mount Zion with the Lamb. Zechariah 8 for the year 2025, right? When it's being built by the people at that time. But what did we know first? We know from what was it? Zechariah 8. What did it say, though? Let's go to Zechariah 8 real quick. And I know I'm jumping around a lot. Sorry, you're just going to have to pause and go back and just be a little bit more slow with it if you need to. But what does it say? Where was it? See, let your hands be strong, you that hear in these days the words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid, that the temple might be built. That's what's being spoken about. This is the 144,000 here. The 144,000 are the ones that are laying the foundation first. When? In the year 2023. But you got to keep reading. They were building it, but they weren't building it properly. Watch. See, if there's dead bodies, so it says, say to the priests, here they are in the 24th day, 9th month, 2nd year, unto Darius in his reign, and saying to the lawgivers, look, if you're around a dead body, are you unclean? Yes, we're unclean. If you're doing this one, are you unclean? Yes, you're unclean. And then the Lord says, and now I pray you, consider from this day and forward, or upward, from before a stone was laid upon a stone in the temple of the Lord. All right? So what's happening is they weren't clean. They were starting to build it when you go back to chapter 1, and you see he says, okay, go collect the wood, go up the mountain, collect the wood, and start building. But they weren't clean yet. All right? Now they're getting clean. Now they realized from this time here, from the time that the first stone is going to be laid upon this other, which is the foundation that the 144,000 are going to lay, that's when, they've been clean. They understood that they were unclean and they needed to be clean. Okay? And when is that? 24th day of the 9th month in the reign of Darius. Okay? So, 24th day, 2nd year, so it would be the 6th, 9th month, 24th day. Temple foundation laid. Right? If we're working on the Gregorian, however, if you take this here and we say that we're working off of the Hebrew calendar now, or we can say God's calendar, because what time is it going to be? It's going to be when the Lord's returned, right? So if we just read it like this for what this is, in the 9th month, in the 2nd year of Darius, this would put it at December 24th. But it wouldn't line up with Darius if it is Trump. Now remember, I'm saying if it is Trump. But so far, all of these other things that we've spoken about have lined up with Darius. All right, with Trump being the representation of Darius. And this lines up exactly within that time frame. Now, when I say exactly, I mean within a give or take 2 to 3 months. So within a give or take 2 to 3 months, at most, this is maybe more than about a month off from what I was talking about, 6 months ago, when the foundation is going to be laid. Because the 144,000 are going to be the ones to lay the foundation first. All right? Then the rapture is going to happen in 2024. And then they're going to be on Mount Zion. They're going to be in paradise. And they're the people that'll be gathered to Mount Zion, just like we saw in Zechariah 8. It's saying, pray that your hands are strong, remember? Let your hands be strong, that you that hear in these days these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid. See, which were in the day. Why? Because this is later. This is 2025. So these are people here and they've been building it, they're working it. It started getting built already, but it's saying, now you guys here with strong hands in the day that the foundation was laid by these prophets. Right? Now we've got peace. I'm here on Mount Zion. Seals are over. Foundation was laid. Rapture has happened. Now people are coming to me because the 144,000 are bringing them to the Lord. And they're the ones building the house of the Lord and rebuilding the city and the streets while the Lord is in Zion, right here. Seals passed, then 3.5 years. During those 3.5 years, Messiah is going to be here, and the city and the street is going to get built again. Then he's going to cut himself off because Satan's coming, and you guys know the rest. All right? So hopefully this teaching made some sense. I know I was covering a lot of ground, but you could see exactly what we're talking about. You can see this is the verse, the chapter that everybody goes to for the time of Jacob's trouble. It's telling us right there. We can see the understanding of the yoke. See how the Lord works? If I had come into Jeremiah and was looking into Jacob's trouble, a month ago, I wouldn't have seen this. I wouldn't have caught this understanding with the yoke. But because of these last couple videos or so and understanding the time, and especially, I should say the last video, from when they brought the yoke back, right? They brought the yoke back. They've put the yoke back on the necks of the Jews. The Lord needs to come and break it off, right? All these little hints are there that they can now have rest and quiet. That they couldn't before because there was war and there was nobody there. There was nobody that they could because there was no peace, right? It's all throughout, guys. Just repeat it over and over and over. We've done this from Genesis to Revelation all throughout. And we are at that season, guys. We are there. Whether it turns out it is tomorrow, God bless you all. Awesome. I can't wait to meet you all. If it turns out it's the 13th of August, thank goodness. God bless you all. We'll see you there. But there is no way we're going beyond August 27th. There is no, I don't mean there's no way that we can go beyond it because it's going to happen in 2018. But for Pentecost, there is no possible way Pentecost is any later. This puts it at its furthest out based on the second Adar with the proper count of 99 from the day after the morrow after the Sabbath, from the day that you brought in the wave offering. All right? This is the latest based on full moon. crescent of the moon, this is our latest. Guys, regardless, keep watching, keep praying, repent of your sins, because we're going to know when it is. It's not going to be some mystery, guys. It is not going to be a mystery. They're going to declare it first. I believe we're going to see some of this stuff here before we get taken out. We're going to see this shaking. The whole earth is going to shake because of this. And then get ready to go. He's going to set us above and deliver us. And look, he's going to bring us forth also into a large place because he delighted in us. The Lord rewarded us according to our righteousness, according to the cleanness of our hands. There was a great video I did on the revelation of this and the timing. All right, guys? So I don't want to keep going on and on. So I love you guys. God bless you. I pray that it reaches you. I pray that you take the time to study it if need be. There is a lot of detail, and I apologize for jumping around, but it just jam-packed with information, and now we know what we're watching for. Pay attention always, 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 guys. I love you. God bless you, and we will see you soon.